Nova, Nova, Nova. I feel like a broken record every single time I say this, but whenever we take another look at the chome, another thing comes out about this guy, it always gets worse and worse. And despite repeating that phrase constantly, I believe the fact that it's never an exaggeration speaks to the depth of this guy's depravity. And you'll see that today when we find out that allegedly Nova treats his animals terribly, and then surprise surprise, the diaper diddler himself is back into his age play or ABDL stuff. Just prepare to be disgusted yet again with this guy's behavior. Let's get right into it. So to get everyone up to speed who missed my last video, we just covered Nova's neighbor who came forward with some information on him regarding a potential official investigation on the guy, how often he door dashes, the fact that the fire department has to stop by their house all the time apparently with masks on for the smell. Of course, some lovely views of him from their security camera and some more. I'll throw up a title card for that first video, but we'll see that Nova wasn't very happy that this neighbor came forward with information regarding him and his tendencies when he thinks he's off camera. And quite frankly, it seems like he was about to blow a gasket.
Okay, I normally make a text post when I'm pissed off, but my neighbor, if you're watching this, what the actual fuck is wrong with you for making lies about me? Seriously, fuck.
Seriously, fuck you. Now, when it comes to his defense to everything his neighbor had to say about him, I feel like this is the laziest, cheapest cop-out he could have possibly thought of for his defense. And it seems to be his go-to when it comes to things like this or allegations of any sort. It's like, oh, it's obviously fake, you're lying, you're making things up for no reason apparently. But if you really sit and stew on it for a moment, what exactly does this neighbor have to gain by making up lies about him? Said neighbor wishes to remain anonymous. They don't have any YouTube that they're promoting. They're not making any money off of this. I mean, you can't even argue that they're getting clout from this because, again, they want to remain anonymous. I mean, just from the outside looking in perspective, it seems like this guy's gotten a little disturbed by how Nova acts along with his mom. Found out a lot of people have interest in Nova and what he gets up to off camera, and decided to spread the word about what Nova Online gets up to when Nova's offline. So I just find it a little hard to believe that this neighbor who lives right next door to Nova would start making up apparent lies about him for no reason, which is especially hard to believe that this guy's lying when some of the things that he's been talking about he's been able to provide photo evidence with from his security camera that happens to catch a little bit of Nova's front or side door. We'll get into one of those photos specifically shortly, but Bloodspeth just did a 1 hour long interview with this neighbor to get a little more information out of him about what the chome gets up to in his day-to-day life and what other horrors this guy might have witnessed having to live next to him. So despite this interview not having dropped yet, Bloodspeth would make a community post that highlights some of the things that we can expect to find out within this interview. He would go, I just finished an hour-long interview with Nova's neighbor and oh my god, I can't even put into words how bad everything I heard was. Here are some of the main points. Another neighbor and elderly woman claimed that during a tantrum, Nova kicked one of his dogs so hard that they died. Now, I had to take a break from recording that for a moment because it's just absolutely so disgusting and despicable of him to have absolutely zero empathy for any of the animals in his house. And again, all of this is alleged, but you have to be a different kind of monster to be capable of doing something like that to an animal. I mean, we already know he's a monster considering the inappropriate way he acts with those under the age of 18 online.
And he was telling me like, oh, you're making me regress. And I was like, what's regress? And he was like, oh, it's where I just go back to the state of being a little kid. You make me feel like I want to be a little kid again. I was like, why?
But one thing that already has me up in arms ready to believe this is the fact that he's displayed time and time again that he is kind of prone to violent outbursts when he gets a little angry when things don't go the chome's way. We do all love watching this clip of him freaking out after that server got nuked, but it shows us he hits things when he gets angry.
Nuked! Server! No! Fuck! 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 Fuck!
And I know there's going to be some skeptics out there thinking to themselves, oh, well, McGrubba might be reaching a little bit right now. Who doesn't have a little bit of a racks out from time to time when things don't go their way? I mean, he was just punching at what sounded like himself, maybe the arm of his chair. It's not like he was punching the wall, which I do believe he has done before. But that's when this neat little clip that the Chin Universe found comes into play. and that's that Nova is seemingly very comfortable with turning around and kicking his dog when it's annoying him. And we're not going to see any hesitation here whatsoever, so it kind of leads me to believe that this is a regular occurrence when it comes to him and how he treats his animals when they're getting on his nerves. Not a single ounce of regret or remorse behind those eyes whatsoever. So not only has this dude proven to us time and time again that he's a PDF file, absolute monster in his own right there, but he's also allegedly not even just an animal abuser, but an animal murderer, really. But moving past this truly horrifying revelation about the chome, I need you guys to remember that this neighbor mentioned that the fire department stops by their place quite a lot, and it's because his mom apparently overdosed on weed, according to Nova, and spent 30 days at a rehab facility. She was in a wheelchair when she came back. They waited until the last second to install the ramp, and she fell over while Nova was pushing her up. He was unable to lift her, and she had to lay in the gravel for 30 minutes while the fire department came. Every single time Nova's mother comes home now, they have to call the fire department because Nova cannot push her up the ramp. They've came around 4 times in the past 2 weeks. Every time the fire department comes, most of them wear masks and show visible disgust after leaving the home. I don't really think you can overdose on weed necessarily, but whatever. Something happened with Nova's mom where she had to be away for a little while and she came back in a wheelchair. And then when they installed this ramp, Nova had one job, and that was to push his mom up this ramp to get her back into the home, and he completely failed at that. I mean, what a wonderful son, right? He draws so much negative attention to the household. He never cleans for her. She catches him apparently buying diapers from time to time, which she does not approve of. No job, allegedly screams at and kicks the animals around. It must be so incredibly embarrassing having to call a couple firefighters over to the house every time she just wants to enter her home because her 21-year-old son, who should be perfectly capable, cannot manage to push her up a ramp to get her into the house. It's been apparent for a little while now that Nova's health is probably at the worst it's ever been at, especially in that last video where we went over the fact that he couldn't even lift a bicycle into the bed of a truck without the help of an elderly man. That incredibly embarrassing situation the chome and his mother have found themselves in should be one of those moments that would be a wake-up call for any other individual, like, hey, my mom really needs help getting into the house now that she's in a wheelchair. Like, maybe I should start going to the gym again so I can lift her back up into her wheelchair when she falls over while I'm pushing her. But like every single other time the chome has given himself an opportunity to better himself or had a chance to, hey, turn his life around, maybe fix one thing in his life, he'll do the exact opposite. He'll go whine about his neighbor on TikTok and then continue on with his daily life like everything's all hunky-dory. Just to continue that theme of Nova being handed wake-up call opportunities to just better his life, his mom's life in general, Blood continues saying Nova's aunt comes once a month to make him clean. Mainly she makes him put on gloves and clean his dog's poop and pee because he never walks him or takes him outside. His dog also runs away often. Nova stands on his porch and screams his dog's name, Mouse, at the top of his lungs, usually at night. Of course, he also orders DoorDash 2 to 3 times a day, usually 7-Eleven, convenience store snacks or drinks, or random restaurants. So for one, no matter your opinion on Nova's mom, I know she did kind of create this guy. But in some way, shape, or form, you have to feel for her. You know, she's kind of stuck in the house, a disgusting house at this point, with the son that throws actual tantrums at 21 years old when he's urged to clean by probably your sister or sister-in-law. You have to deal with him not bothering to go outside to get the dog when it runs away, but standing there at the door screaming the dog's name over and over and over again. And then you have to endure a push of shame when the firefighters come in with masks to deliver you to your house that your son won't clean. And then the poor neighbors. You wonder why the neighbor is so readily coming forward with all this information about you when you're constantly causing disturbances for the neighborhood, when you sit there at your doorstep and scream, "Mouth! Mouth! Mouth!" Truly, the degeneracy with this guy knows no bounds. I mean, Bloodspeth says it best at the end of this post, saying, "I'm speechless." I know I've been yapping about it a lot, but truly, when you put it all into perspective, it does leave you kind of starstruck. Maybe starstruck isn't the perfect term for this. I'd say maybe more flabbergasted, especially with this next point that we're moving on to. and that's the fact that Nova, with the Nova files dropping and that excruciatingly long call he had with someone who is 4 years under the age of 18, where he was showing off his diaper, talking in a baby voice, asking to be called baby girl, showing off his binky, wearing that Sailor Moon outfit. You'd figure all the people calling him a PDF file for just that alone would be enough to make him steer clear of doing any of this ABDL or age regression, age play stuff that he's been doing. At the very least, not on his main account. But no, you'll find Nova now, if his comments haven't been removed of course, under this extremely odd YouTube page centered around age regression or age play, or rather being in the little zone or something, as Nova would put it. Now when it comes to this sort of thing, Nova likes to throw around the card that it's purely a trauma response, it's something he does to feel comfortable, feel safe. And apparently there are groups of people where this happens to them and it's apparently involuntary. But in Nova's case, it's so incredibly clear that it's just to get his rocks off to. When you take a look at this account and all their thumbnails alone is enough to absolutely disgust you. And it's this person wearing diapers, getting into suggestive poses, which in my opinion is just obvious PDF file bait and incredibly disgusting. And I truly don't know how this is allowed on YouTube. Even just reading this comment, I'm not even going to read it out loud because it's just disgusting. That is a PDF file if I've ever seen one. But no, Nova would find comfort and solace in this account, and you know what, you would even inspire him to get back into his old ways, log back into his Little for Big account, buy some more diapers, and get back into this age play stuff. In fact, he left multiple comments under some of these videos, in this one stating his situation that he's found himself in regarding his age he puts it. When I tried posting about my age journey, I was called some not so nice things, and it made me lose confidence in wanting to do it again. You alone are bringing back my confidence and want to do age again. What? No, we all know what happened last time he got really heavily into this age regression stuff, and that was him hopping into Discord calls and acting incredibly inappropriately with someone who was well under the age of 18. And then apparently Alice, not too long ago, that crazed fangirl, was also rocking him to sleep or babying him. Who knows about that? What we do know is that the Nova files exist, and that is evidence enough that this guy shouldn't be anywhere around this age regression community, especially not this weird suggestive page that I don't believe should be on YouTube. Here we have another comment that Nova made under one of their other videos, but Nova is very clearly a pretty active viewer on this account, and what blows my mind is his decision to do this on his main profile that links back to him, just like that Novine Spicy page he left on Nova Hub for us. Just posting on main, expecting nobody to see it or people to overlook it if they do see it, which definitely was not the case. I think this is incredibly alarming to see him browsing channels like this one. Because if he's falling back into his old ways, how long does he fall back into a Discord call with someone far too young to be speaking the way he wants to speak? We'll just have to see how that ends up turning out, and I for one can't wait for this little Bloodspat's gonna put out for us later on in this week. But my Grubbas, to end the video off on something a little more positive, this video's been all doom and gloom, we have another drop to look forward to, and that's the Nova harassment files that are apparently dropping sometime soon. He's hinted at it now on his Twitter page with this photo. And I couldn't help but notice, but that H is exactly the same as the H from Hypixel, a server on Minecraft, which is almost fitting considering how every single Minecraft YouTuber tends to be just like the chome. Will McGrubba make the harassment files? Will the chome take accountability for harassing all these YouTubers in their comment sections? What other horrible things are we going to find out in this interview that's dropping soon? We'll just have to find out in the next episode of Dragon Chome Z. Anyways, I hope you guys liked today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out all the way to the end. Don't forget to like up and to hype up the video if you've got any hypes left this week. And, maybe even subscribe if this video was just that informative for you. Anyways, have a good day if you aren't the chome. Later, Grubbas.